Hello everyone and welcome back again to my channel. This will be a refined guide on how to run the Chirpathrawn team in Phase 3 of the Heroic Tank Raid. So we're going to take a look at the technique here and the mods in this video. And the most important portion of this video, in my opinion, besides the technique itself, will be the section about mods. So be sure to pay close attention to that because there are key differences in the mod selection between this and the older Chirpathrawn team. So I hope you enjoy this video and let's get started. Alright, so here's the technique in detail and slow motion. You want to use Royal Guard to stun the droid with the green triangle on top of his head. Then you have Emperor Palpatine start doing basic attacks on the side droids. Immediately after that, use Grand Admiral Thrawn to give Emperor Palpatine full turn meter to shock another droid. Make sure that you don't prematurely talk with Sunfac, and then use Chirpa to call Emperor Palpatine to assist. This will be RNG dependent. You're now up to 3 shock droids, and you'll gain enough turn meter with the speed up and the shock basics to get a 4th shock droid right away. The most important thing here is to make sure that the droid with the green triangle on top of his head doesn't take a turn. So if you had bad RNG like I did in this battle and you didn't stun him on the first try, make sure that you stun him right away. You actually do not need the defense up to make it to enrage, as you'll find out in this battle. Then we're up to 5 shock droids, and the most important thing is do not shock the 6th droid until you fractured the raid boss. So I'm hitting the raid boss here, and you could hit a side droid as well. It doesn't really matter too much. Make sure, like I did that with Sunfac right there. Then Grand Admiral Thrawn will fracture, and you can go back and shock the 6th droid. I quickly want to note a few things before we get into the mods in detail here. You should zeta'd Thrawn's unique if you want to have more consistent amounts of damage. You can run this team with 4 heroes. You actually don't need 2 tanks. As you can see here, Sunfac didn't even get his taunt up, and this team is going to make it to the enrage. You can also still do this if you get hit by the tank turret in the back. That wasn't the case when you did Chirpathrawn, but that doesn't matter here. You can still make it to enrage. And there's going to be specific mod changes for the supporting cast, the tanks, and also Emperor Palpatine specifically, so make sure that you're modding your team correctly to do the most amount of damage and get the best RNG possible in your favor. So now let's get into the mods here. So there's specific differences between how you modded Chirpathrawn in the past and how you're going to now mod Chirpathrawn going forward. So typically before, in Chirpathrawn teams, you were originally modding your tanks to have heavy protection, health, and defense, and you can still do so, but now with the addition of Thrawn's fracture debuff, that is no longer necessary. So you can actually mod your team to do more damage than you've ever done before, and you can mod the supporting casts like the tanks to be more consistent and have your run actually be less RNG dependent, which actually ends up saving you time in the long run over the course of many tank raids, so because you won't be retreating as much. So without further ado, let's get right into these mods. So starting with our leader, Chief Chirpa. Chief Chirpa actually requires 0 mods. His only purpose is for that leadership ability, and if you're going to put any mods whatsoever, just throw a 3-dot or a 5-dot speed arrow and just be done with that. The only reason why I have mods on Chief Chirpa here is because it syncs with my SWGOH.GG profile, and it makes it easier to find some of the mods that I have. So don't worry about Chief Chirpa's mods. We're going to move on to Sunfac here. Sunfac, for the right side, you want to run protection or health arrows, protection or health triangles, but now you can switch the protection or health primary cross to be tenacity, and that's because you don't need that extra health or protection, and this will prevent Sunfac from actually getting ability blocked and stopping himself from being able to not land taunt in the tank raid. Same thing with Royal Guard. So typically before, you were running health or protection arrows, health or protection triangles, but now going forwards, you don't need a health or protection primary cross. You can run potency, and that's because it's very important that you stun that droid with the green triangle on top of his head, and you don't need that extra health or protection anymore because your team can make it to the enrage. Moving on to Grand Admiral Thrawn, he's another character which actually needs just about 0 mods. So just like Chief Chirpa, you can run him with 0 mods. And I'm running him at exactly the base speed, so he has 0 speed secondaries. This character has 150 speed starting out, and he has 150 speed post mods. And in fact, he's actually gear 9, so that's pretty interesting as well. And then the most important character to be modded properly, of course, is Emperor Palpatine, because he's doing the majority of the damage. Now, he's running a offense set with a 2-piece crit chance set. To do the maximum amount of damage, you actually need to run crit damage mods, but this can be more consistent, especially if you're running a offense triangle, which I am currently not right now because I don't have that mod. But overall, I'm running a offense arrow, so this is new. So before, you needed to have a speed arrow in order to, even with a Chirpa assist, to make it before the tank fired in the back. But you don't need that anymore. You can actually take the hit and still make it to enrage. So more damage, offense. Going forwards, the triangle. You want something offensive, so crit damage, crit chance, or offense. Here with the offense set, you'd probably be best off running an offense primary or a crit chance primary here instead of crit damage, but that's all that I had on me right now. And then of course, I was one of the few people in the past that really advocated for running offense crosses, and you still run an offense cross here. You don't need potency because with good RNG you will land all 6 shocks without needing that extra potency. So typically, if you want to run Emperor Palpatine, you're looking for high offense or high maximum crit damage. With crit damage, it's going to be a little bit less consistent because you're relying on that. With offense mods, it's going to be more consistent, but you're not going to have that higher, you're not going to break through the ceiling and get the maximum possible score. So we're going to start wrapping things up here in this video. Today you watched a refined guide on how to run the Chirpathrawn team in Phase 3 of the Heroic Tank Raid. We went over the technique in detail, and I suggested some mod changes everyone should make in order to guarantee more success in the raid going forward. If you haven't already, please take the time to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content, and I will see you guys next time. You're welcome. The killers understand it.